Howdy, this is the Views from the Schott podcast. I'm your host, your one and only host, Tim Miller, and today it is Friday, September 19th, 2025, and I wish you a very, very, very happy National Meow Like a Pirate Day. On today's show, we've got a lot of news, a lot of notes to cover over the past week. So that's what we will do today. We got a full Ohio State men's basketball schedule that has been released. We'll break that down a little bit today. We already knew all of the teams Ohio State was going to play, home, away, all that stuff. Now, yesterday, the Big Ten releases the actual schedule, the order, the dates, and all of those types of things. So we will cover that. We've also got some updates on the recruiting front as well. We've got a visit coming this weekend in a class of 2026. 247 Sports, 24/7 Sports, 247 Sports, however you prefer to pronounce their name. They updated their 2027 class of 2027 rankings this week. We'll talk about that and where a bunch of Ohio State prospects fall there as well. And what else? We've got some other news and notes here. The stack, I mean, if you're hearing this, if you're seeing this, this is real paper. There's a lot in here, so there's a lot to cover today. It's a good old-fashioned podcast episode. No guests. I'll talk about that later on. There was a guest planned for this week. I will talk about that late in the show. Talk about what happened there and what we're doing to remedy this situation and all that. So, thanks for being here. It's fun to be here with you. I always relish the opportunity to just chat Buckeye hoops with you. So that's what we're going to do today. I would encourage you, please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. I was taking a look at the numbers just kind of over the spring, summer portion, and now a couple days away from fall, technically. Numbers have been, I was shocked. We have tripled. I'm not even joking you. Tripled, 3x'd our listens from this time right now to 365 days ago. Last year, the Summer Guest Series, it's insane. It's insane. So thank you for that. Please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a show. Doesn't mean you have to listen to every show or watch every show, but at least it'll be there for you. Subscribe on YouTube as well. I encourage you to get there. Just go to YouTube, look up Views from the Schott podcast. We'll show up. You can subscribe there as well. And then the Substack, I don't talk about it on every show. Views from the Schott podcast.substack.com. Highly, highly, highly recommend you get there as well. Here's what was on the Substack this past week. From Monday to now, it's Friday morning when I'm recording. So, schedule release for Ohio State at 5 o'clock yesterday. By, I think, 5:22, I already published an article breaking down the schedule. If you're into speed, if that feels fast to you, then awesome. That may be a good thing for you. Also had updates on a bunch of prospects, broke down an article on the class of 2027. Also had an exclusive article for paid subscribers on Joshua Tyson, a guard in 2027, and where he's at right now in his recruitment in the exclusive chat as well, where you can pay to get some more inside info. I would say invest rather than pay, I guess I would say. Notes on Dylan Ziegler, notes on Anthony Thompson, likelihood of a 2026 commit, update on 3 visitors as well coming to Ohio State. That's all in just this week alone. In the past, I've dropped knowledge and nuggets on Ohio State's secret scrimmage, Ohio State's exhibition. Told you it was going to be with an Ohio-based team like the UD, like the Cincinnati scrimmages. Drop news on Dorian Jones not coming to Ohio State well before that happened. A pretty recent update on Puff Johnson, Colin White, Josh O, their injuries, and a whole lot more. So I say all that to say it's completely free. If you go to viewsfromtheshottpodcast.substack.com, it's completely free to subscribe. You can do that, and then you can get all this news kind of pumped to you, and then you do have the additional option as well. If you want more inside info, you can invest in that as well. Reach out to me before you do it. I'll give you a month free. I don't care. So that's a long intro. That's about the longest intro we've had. We've got some real news to get into here. So again, thank you for being here. If you're watching on YouTube, please like the video. Every time I say that, people tend to listen and do it. So please do that as well. Comment. your thoughts on anything in this show as well. Would love to hear from you. Thanks again for being here. Let's talk Ohio State hoops. We're 5 minutes into this. Goodness. Let's talk Ohio State hoops. So the first thing we're going to talk about, full schedule released for Ohio State and all the Big Ten. Speaking of the Big Ten, we've got news dropped there as well. All 18 teams will be in the Big Ten tournament this year. At least this year, I assume forever and never, amen, moving forward in the Big Ten Conference. Last year, of course, 15 teams made it. Out of those 15, no one made any noise, at least in the back half, heading into the Big Ten tournament and making a run or anything like that. Kind of same old, same old. If you're top 8, top 9, you'll have a chance to make a little run in the Big Ten tournament. That's just kind of how it works. So this is the highest that Penn State basketball fans will be. Minnesota probably, maybe a Washington in there. This is the highest they will be for the entire college basketball season. Because, sorry, the win over Mercyhurst or the win over Eastern Washington Community College West Campus Online Central doesn't quite do it for you. So give those fans, hold space for them to enjoy this news. It's huge for them. What am I saying? Ohio State hasn't made the tournament in 3 years, the NCAA tournament. Okay, so I guess I shouldn't make fun. I shouldn't poke fun, but I guess I had to at the same time. So all 18 teams will make it. Yippee. It doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't affect Ohio State. It's just like either way, I would rather just go back to 14 teams. Or maybe the Big Ten should have 10 teams. I don't know. All right. So breaking down the schedule for Ohio State, let's talk about it. I'll give you the schedule. If you're listening or watching, you probably know the schedule already at this point. And if you've been following really closely, you already know the teams Ohio State's going to play. But I'll give that to you right now. So Ohio State will have a secret. Nope, not a secret. They'll have an exhibition with Ohio on October 26th. They've also got a secret scrimmage, I believe, about a week or so before that. That's at least what I was told in terms. It's not finalized, but that's where they're looking right now. And that's all I'll say about that for now, because it's a secret after all, folks. We need to respect that. So Ohio State tips off the season November 3rd. It'll be a Monday evening. We have no times for any of these games. Not a single time other than the Ohio exhibition. But we can guess that game against IU-Indy on Monday night, November 3rd, will most likely be 7 o'clock, 6:30, 6 o'clock tip-off. Depending on it's all the suits who decide what channel you're going to be on, and are you going to have to do the stupid BTN Plus subscription for 2.5 hours so you can watch Ohio State basketball? Those people are deciding the fate of times in which these games will be played. So they tip off with IU-Indy. They've got a stretch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 home games in a row to start the year. After IU-Indy, it's Purdue, Fort Wayne, App State, and then the first game where you say, I should probably tune in, where if you're a football fan, you're big in Ohio State football, and basketball is kind of secondary to you, which is the case for a lot of people. That Notre Dame game is where a lot of people will tweet things, and you just say, you haven't been here. It's like being at a party. Maybe it's just a birthday party. It doesn't have to be a banger, but you're at a party and you've been there for an hour and a half, and then someone just walks in the door and starts screaming, "Happy birthday, Gerald! Happy birthday, man!" And it's like, we did this already. The surprise started 90 minutes ago. What are you doing here? You just look out of place. That'll be the fans tweeting about the Notre Dame game on November 16th. That'll be a Sunday at home in the Schott. Then 2 more games with Western Michigan and Mount St. Mary's before the road trip begins. They'll go to Pitt on Black Friday, and that covers the entire month of November. Then Big Ten play starts. I don't know. Are we pro or anti these 2 Big Ten games to start December? I don't really have an opinion. It just feels a little wonky. So after Pitt, it's Northwestern. That's who they start Big Ten play against on December 6th. And then they'll get Illinois at home. They'll play the Fighting Illini December 9th. After that, we go back into non-conference play with West Virginia on a neutral site. That game up in Cleveland. We remember the last time Ohio State played West Virginia in Cleveland. So might be a barn burner. Might be a fun game. Maybe Roddy Gale Jr. will make an appearance. I wouldn't put it past him. North Carolina on December 20th. The sleepiest game of the year will be Ohio State against Grambling State on December 23rd. That game will be at home. in the Schott 2 days before Christmas. The student section will not be there. Shout out the Nut House. Please give a 5-star review. If you know, you know. And that will be a game that Ohio State will play 2 days before Christmas. Man, is that a trap game? Some are saying. Then Big Ten play starts. You got Rutgers on January 2nd. You're going to go to Piscataway, New Jersey, to restart Big Ten play and kind of shut down the non-conference for a long time before that neutral site game against Virginia. January 5th, you got Nebraska. You got Iowa and Washington on the road. Now, this is going to be the trip where if you've listened to the Summer Guest Series, if you've paid attention to that, the show with Q Banks, Ohio State's, I think, assistant director of strength and conditioning. I don't remember his exact title, but he talked a lot. Sometimes it's the slight autism and the tick where you just get laser focused on something. I really enjoy the conversation just about sleep in general. Weird, I get it. Hand up, it's odd, but sleep and how do you handle going all the way out west and the time zone change and all that. So listen to that. That was really interesting. Buckeyes will play at Oregon and then at Washington this year. That'll come January 8th and January 11th. Then they get 6 days of rest. Shout out God. 6 days of, if you're into that. Sorry, disclaimer. 6 days of rest before you get UCLA at home. That'll be a big one for Ohio State. Minnesota at home. And then you play your arch rivals, Michigan, January 23rd. Your final 2 games in January at home against Penn State, away against Wisconsin. Into February, you get at Maryland. You'll play Michigan at home on Super Bowl Sunday. Did we do that last year? I'm pretty sure we did. We did do that, right? Or am I crazy? I think that was home, Michigan. I've told you this before. This came from someone who was with the program, no longer with the program. That's as specific as I would like to be. CBS wants Ohio State playing on Sundays once football stops. That's just how this works. Ohio State plays Michigan on Sunday when football stops. After that, into February, USC at home. You got the neutral sider on Valentine's Day. What's better than this? Hey, babe, we're going to take a trip to Nashville for Valentine's Day. It's going to be wonderful. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to go to these restaurants, find some cool places late night to hang out. And, oh, by the way, we're going to go watch Ohio State play Virginia. Is that cool with you? Hey, if it plays, it plays. Hopefully it plays for you. February 17th, you're home against Wisconsin, away Michigan State, away Iowa. And then you enter March, 3 games. March 1st, you're at home against Purdue. And then you get Penn State on the road. And you close it off with Senior Day against Indiana at home. That is your schedule. You've read it. It's not like you really need me to read that off to you over the course of 4 to 5 minutes, but I do it anyway. Now I take a sip and we continue. Alrighty, so there's a couple reactionary pieces here that we'll get to. And if you're here, I appreciate it. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. So here's what I picked out. I picked out an easiest stretch of Big Ten play for Ohio State. I picked out the hardest stretch of Big Ten play for Ohio State. Then we'll talk about some other things in the Big Ten, right? So the easiest stretch for Ohio State, I think, comes very early, which could be good for the Buckeyes. Ohio State could get hot. Watch out for the Buckeyes, man. They could get hot. Poisonous nut, and they could get hot in January. So I think you look at January 2nd to January 20th. That's where you got a really good shot. I don't know. Northwestern Illinois feels like maybe you split those. You go 1-1. I have no idea. None of us have any idea. It's in the future, and games aren't played on paper. So you can have a great feel for the game. You may still be wrong. But after you get out of those games in December, you go to January. Ohio State's hardest game over that stretch of January 2nd to January 20th comes against UCLA. Now, pause for a second. UCLA has the 4th best odds to win the Big Ten according to Caesars Sportsbook. They are on every other sportsbook no better, I believe, than 4th. They may be tied on one sportsbook. We'll talk about that in a second. Why do I bring that up? It's just we're projecting who we think is going to win the Big Ten, and people who actually have to make money off of this, off of us poors, as they would say, they got to make money off of this, so they got to put these numbers where they can make money and where it makes sense. So that said, it kind of matters. UCLA, 4th best odds to win the Big Ten on average. So That's the best team that they will play over the stretch from January 2nd to January 20th. About 2.5 weeks or so of play. UCLA, worse odds to win the Big Ten than Ohio State, might I add. And that game is at home. And that game is on a Saturday, which means the environment should, we hope, off the chains for Ohio State. We've heard a lot. I can tell you, like, I've had some players even tell me, like, hey, like, we've heard some things about what they're doing with the Schott this year. It sounds like it's going to be really, really fun. I think Colin White came on the show and even said that as well. So they're excited about that. The environment should be great, and 6 days of rest. You're going to be fully rested for this game. I would like to ask Jake Diebler when he joins the show. Stick around for the end of the show for more news on that. I'd like to ask him, do we like UCLA? If you're going to play a really good team, do you want 6 days of rest, or do you want this game on a Wednesday? What's your preference? How does that work? If I remember, I'll ask him. Someone to remind me. Make a note of it. I need an intern or something, an unpaid intern. Budget's not that high here. So I like the matchup with UCLA. 6 days of rest. You're at home. It's on a Saturday. It should be a great environment. I love all of those things. Outside of that, this stretch, January 2nd to January 20th, very, very good. You get the team with the 18th best odds to win the Big Ten, also known as the worst odds to win the Big Ten. You get that team twice in this period, January 2nd to January 20th, against Minnesota. So you play Minnesota at home and away. You get them twice over this stretch. You also get the team with the 15th best odds to win the Big Ten. That's Rutgers. You'll get them in this stretch. Washington, Oregon are 10 and 9 best odds to win the Big Ten. So this could be really advantageous for Ohio State. I get that Washington and Oregon are on the road, and that may be a tough stretch for Ohio State. Here's the thing. I personally don't buy into the West Coast trips being that much more difficult than maybe we like to think, because you're used to it. You go there a couple days before, like Q Bang said, you change when you're eating, you change when you're going to bed, you stay up a little bit later because it's out west to get your bodies adjusted. By the time it's game day, it's not really a huge deal, and especially that second game, which is what? Where did I put the schedule? Did I put it on the floor? I put it on the floor, guys. Um, I don't know which games comes first between Oregon and Washington. I don't really think it matters necessarily, but regardless, I don't worry too much about those games. So those are the teams you play. You got UCLA, you got Minnesota twice, you got Oregon and Washington and Rutgers. That feels like a nice light way to start Big Ten play, at least for me. So I'd say that's the easiest stretch for Ohio State. The hardest stretch, it's tough, and it's going to come in February. So it looks borderline brutal at this point. Michigan has the second best odds to win the Big Ten. Ohio State will play Michigan during the stretch in February. USC has the eighth best odds. I would like USC a little bit better than that. Wisconsin sixth, Michigan State seventh. This is all coming from Caesar Sportsbook. I think they were the first to come out with Big Ten odds, so I rolled with them, and the odds really aren't that different except for on one sportsbook, which we'll talk about later on. So that said, man, Michigan has real NBA talent. We saw what they did last year pretty instantly, getting a spark from Dusty May. Roddy Gale Jr. still there, of course. Michigan State is always a player. How much do you believe in Eric Musselman at USC? That's a question. They've done a lot of work in the transfer portal. I believe they've got a nice freshman class coming in as well. Could be way off on that, though. So please don't punish me if I'm wrong on that. Regardless, it feels like a tough stretch for Ohio State. So that said, you're going to have to stack some wins here in early January, because you could get to the end of January and be sitting at 6-2 or however many games it would be. I guess probably more like 8-2 in Big Ten play, which that would be, I mean, we're setting off fireworks in New Albany. It doesn't matter where we are. Shoot them off. 8-2, Big Ten play. That's really good. You only need a couple more wins to be essentially guaranteed to make the Big Ten, or sorry, not the Big Ten, the NCAA tournament. But after 10 games, if you're sitting at 6-4, 7-3, that's okay. That's not bad at all. You don't have to go over 500 in conference play to make the NCAA tournament. It certainly helps. Makes it really hard to miss the NCAA tournament if that's the case. But if you can get off to a nice start in January, if the losses come in February, which it's more likely that they will, hurts a little bit less. The home game situation is something that we need to talk about as well. This is something Jake Diebler, I think he said it publicly. If not, I heard a lot of rumblings privately from people just kind of complaining like, we're Ohio State, and I get that a lot of when we play, it matters to CBS and it matters to Peacock and NBC and all the executives at FS1 and all of these different places. It matters. You slot Ohio State pretty quickly because there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on the Buckeyes. With that said, you don't really get to pick when you play. I have a feeling, I have no guided or inside information on this. I have a feeling that Jake Diebler, Ohio State, probably complained to the Big Ten and said, hey, like last year sucked. We don't appreciate what you did to us, Big Ten Conference. Fix it. And by you don't appreciate what we did to us. If you don't remember, Ohio State's only Saturday home game in Big Ten play. You can control the non-conference. You can control where it's played. You can control when it's played. All that stuff you can control. The Big Ten tells you where you go, when you go, who you play, all that stuff. That's up to the Big Ten Conference. So I don't think Ohio State appreciated the fact that the only home true weekend game they got last year in Big Ten play was against Rutgers, and that was 2 weeks before Christmas, December 7th. 2.5 weeks before Christmas. That was the only home Big Ten Conference game Ohio State got on a Saturday. They got Michigan at home on a Sunday, and then they got Michigan State and Indiana at home on Friday nights. But true Saturday games, which is what Ohio State wants, they got one of those home games across all of Big Ten play, which is what, 20 games? Don't like that. And it's an issue. Even the Friday games, even the Sunday games are an issue because, look, Columbus isn't State College. Like Penn State complains a lot about Big Noon Kickoff. I already slammed them once on the show, so I guess I won't again. I get it. I understand why we complain about that. It's hard to travel there. Columbus is fairly easier, is the scientific term I would use for travel. You don't want guys in on a Sunday necessarily because they got to go home. You can't get a full, complete, hearty visit with them. You'd like them to get in on Friday night, to visit, to talk with them on Friday. Saturday, you tailgate with them at the football games, which is what they're doing now. You go enjoy the football game, you go take them through the facilities, get a visit with the family, all those types of things. It's much harder to get all that in if it's a Friday or a Sunday visit because, well, first of all, you don't have a football game to tailgate at, but the real reason you actually have a basketball game to go prepare for. You got to go play. You got to go do shoot around. You got to go get ready, meetings and all those types of things. So you can't pay as much attention to these prospects, which makes it harder, especially. But if you're getting them for a game on a Friday, I guess you can flip it and enjoy a visit on a Saturday. Same thing, maybe get them in on a Saturday night and have them come to the game on Sunday. It's just harder. So you want the Saturday games. It's a little bit better this year. You get 2 home Saturday games. One, we already talked about UCLA. The other is Senior Day. It's going to be in March against Indiana. So you'll take that. The other weekend games that you get a Sunday with Michigan on Super Bowl Sunday. That's great. You'll take that. And then Purdue as well. Again, for these big marquee matchups, look, Michigan and Purdue are far and away. Purdue is the heavy favorite to win the Big Ten in the regular season this year. Michigan far and away second. There's a big drop-off between the top 2 and the rest of the Big Ten. Both of those games are on Sunday. I pretty much guarantee they're both going to be on CBS, and they're going to be a 1 or a 3 o'clock tip-off. That's just how this works when it comes to scheduling with Ohio State. So that's what you expect. You get the extra home game on a Saturday. I guess you take that. So it's a little bit better this year. The Friday night games I hate. A little bit better this year. When we're talking, I've kind of talked about Sportsbook a little bit. There's a whole lot of value. If you're just looking at where the Big Ten is right now, there's a huge discrepancy in the market on Ohio State. If you're the type where you want to sprinkle some money on Ohio State to win the Big Ten in the regular season, or if you actually believe that they will, I won't be taking that action. I just won't. But here's the thing. Caesars gives Ohio State the 3rd best odds to win the conference at plus 750 behind Purdue and Michigan. Fanatics right there. Ohio State 3rd place at plus 700. Bet365, exact same as Fanatics. Plus 700, 3rd best odds to win the Big Ten. And then we bring in like this stepbrother, ESPN Bet. We kind of bring them in and we say, hey, sit down. Are you okay? Like, I know you're not a blood relative. You're a part of this family, though. Like, let's sit down. What have you been doing? What have you been thinking over the past couple of months and like paying attention to where you have Ohio State with the 6 best odds tied with 4 other teams? So you could say 6, 10 best odds, doesn't matter. It's all the same. And plus 1,500. Hey, ESPN bet, buddy, you realize you're gonna lose out on a lot of money here. There's some true discrepancies in the market where you're mispricing Ohio State. So if you'd like to bet Ohio State, don't do it on Caesars, don't do it on Fanatics, don't do it on Bet365. Don't wait for FanDuel and DraftKings to come out. Bet it on ESPN Bet and get plus 1,500 for it. That's a lot. I mean, you're doubling your money. If you bet $10, you're gonna get 70 from any of these other sports books. You bet $10, you're gonna get $150 if it hits on ESPN Bet. Do I think it's gonna hit? No, but I don't know. Just letting you know. That's free. That's free. All right. Let's talk recruiting and some visits and stuff like that. And then one other update, and we'll get out of here. Again, thanks for being here. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube, like the video if you're on YouTube. 5-star review. May I? All right. So 247 Sports released an update on the 2027 rankings, high school basketball. We've got some movement here. The biggest one that I'm going to talk to you about, and I posted an article on this. This would have been on Wednesday, kind of like around noon. The largest riser in any of any player in the top 50 currently is a player that Ohio State has offered, and it's an in-state player, and that's Joshua Tyson. So he jumped 17 spots. He's now the 49th ranked player in the class of 2029. He's the 8th ranked combo guard, and he plays his ball Lakota West, I want to say, in Westchester. That's a suburb of Cincinnati, if you're not informed. He posted an entire article kind of updating his recruitment. Had the chance to talk with him a little bit. The top players involved for Tyson right now. Ohio State is definitely in there. West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Cincinnati, Butler, Xavier. My impression is that Butler has picked up some steam for him potentially. So you're fighting against Thad Matta there. I think Ohio State is a very, very, very strong contender for Joshua Tyson right now. He's a fast riser here in the class of 2027. Interested to see how other recruiting platforms view Joshua Tyson, but he's a big-time riser. Ohio State's going to want to get him. They continue to stay involved with him. He's already taken, I believe, an unofficial visit to Ohio State this year. I gotta hurry up. There's an issue I have here. Love the brand new house that we're in. Very, very thankful for it. One issue I have, the sun rises straight on, right where I'm looking right now. And this time of morning, when the sun starts to rise, I am blinded. I might have to get up and go close my curtain so that I'm not literally blinded here and look like I'm about to go be face to face with Jesus. So it gets really bright. So let's pick up the pace. DeMarcus Henry, brother, of course, of Chris Henry Jr., who is committed to play Ohio State on the football side in the class of 2026. 2027, DeMarcus Henry, he moves up 6 spots to number 16 overall. Ohio State has offered. He's listed as a 4-star by 247 Sports consensus. He's a 5-star. Buckeyes offered him on May 7th of this year. He ties one other prospect, I don't remember his name, for the most spots jumped and climbed in the top 16. Henry, of course, from Cincinnati, Ohio. He's playing his prep ball in Arizona. He holds offers from Ohio State, Oregon, UNLV, Cincinnati, Washington, Oklahoma State, USC, and Grand Canyon, the most recent to offer DeMarcus Henry. So he's a player to keep an eye on. Pair of point guards who Ohio State offered. They both rise. Caden Daughtry, Davion Thompson, both received an offer from Ohio State this summer. Both got a slight boost. Daughtry, he's top 15 now. He rose from 16 to 15. He's a consensus 5-star, playing his prep ball in Florida. He holds offers from over a dozen programs, including Ohio State, Michigan, BYU, Texas A&M, and Iowa. Thompson, he climbed 3 spots, number 17 overall. He's right behind DeMarcus Henry, actually. And he's received offers from Tennessee, Michigan, Indiana, NC State, Oregon, others as well. So he's likely going to be highly coveted. By the way, just in general, I said this on the pod before, 2027 seen as a much better class than 2026. 2027 seen as a class you're seeing, if you're on YouTube, you're watching the sun like slowly overtake my face. 2027 class overall more like than 2026. 2026 way below average in terms of overall talent. 2027 seen as above average. I skipped a page here. Let's get back here. Where are we at? Isaiah Mack Russell, he dropped, I think, 15 spots. He's tumbled outside of the top 100. I believe, he's from Cincinnati. He's got offers from Cincinnati, Dayton, Creighton, Xavier, Michigan State, and others. So some impressive programs offering him. Programs evaluate players. I doubt that they really care what 247 Sports has to say necessarily, but he fell a lot. He was a 4-star. He's now a 3-star according to 247 Sports. I'm looking for a page here. Yeah. Obinna Ezeki Jr., Jake Diebler was with him yesterday. Actually, I think he's in Arizona or maybe California. There were a couple of, who else visited him? Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee also went in to see him and pay him a visit this week. He's the number 1 center in the class. He's a 5-star and still number 4 overall. Louisville, Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, Kansas, UCLA, all in on him, among several others, including Ohio State. If Ohio State gets him, everyone must give Jake Diebler one pat on the butt. That would be an insane win for him. Garen Holmes is a player Ohio State has offered. He has offers from, I think, Mississippi State and Virginia Tech. Yeah, those are the 2 other power conference programs offering him. Ohio State was really early on him. He remains unranked. He's not in the top 50 in the class of 2027. It's odd. I don't know. If you're getting an offer from Ohio State, Mississippi State, and Virginia Tech, I would think you'd get ranked. He's still yet to get ranked, so we'll see. Maybe it's just a product of where he's playing his prep ball and people are not seeing him. I don't know. I think those are all the updates, though, I have for you on the recruiting side. In the class of 2027. One other note for you here. Visit coming up this weekend. Jalen Collingwood will be on a visit with Ohio State this weekend. He's a 6'5", 190-pound wing from D.C. He visited Mississippi State last week. I don't know why Ohio State's in so many recruiting battles with Mississippi State, but they are. He visited Mississippi State last week. He also has visits planned with Michigan State and Texas Tech and Vanderbilt. So it's an odd grab bag of programs that he's interested in. There's no agreement, by the way, on his standing as a player. He's inside the top 100. He's a 4-star recruit according to 247 Sports. His composite, he's barely inside the top 175. I think he's 173rd. So just weird on him. I don't know. He announced his cut list a couple months ago. Of the 7 schools, Ohio State in there. So Buckeyes in on him. He will take an official visit to Ohio State this weekend. No football game to watch, but he'll still be here. Jake Diebler, also, like I mentioned, he did pay a visit to Obinna Ezeki Jr., number 1 center in the class, number 4 overall. I already mentioned all the programs that are in on him, so that's cool as well. Jake Diebler on the move there. Last note, the plan was to have Jake Diebler on the show. Another reason I would recommend, by the way, that you are on the Substack, just sign up there for free. Views from the Schott podcast. .substack.com. If you subscribe there, you never have to type it in again because you can sign up for emails, you can bookmark it, you can even download the Substack app, which I would encourage as well. You knew, if you're there already, I posted a note. This goes to everyone. Notes go to everyone for free. Just like blurbs that aren't necessarily an article worthy, but I would like to get just a quick note out to you. It's a nice way for me to communicate to you outside of Twitter, for example. Jake Diebler was supposed to be on the show yesterday. On Thursday, we had it planned for 10 a.m. Then he shoots me a text on Wednesday and says, actually, I'm going to be on a plane during that time. That's all good. Me personally, I don't know about you. I want my head ball coach focus on the number 4 prospect in the nation to go visit him, then be on some podcast. So now we're planning potentially next week. He's a busy guy. He's a head coach at Ohio State. So I get it. All that said, the plan was to have him on this week. That's why we're talking about a bunch of kind of grab bag stuff right now. Who else do you want on the show? I've tried, folks. I've tried Bruce Thornton. I've tried really, really hard. Just every time I ask anyone about him, it's like, yeah, I'll ask him about it. He's a private guy. He's never been on a podcast as far as I'm aware. I don't think he's ever done any additional media, like any articles or investigative reporting, like any like real. Here's the story on Bruce Thornton at Ohio State. I've never seen anything like that as long as he has been living. Like as a prospect, now at Ohio State, I've never seen anything. So he's a private guy, kind of keeps to himself. I get that. That's fine. So I've tried on him. If there's anyone else that you really think I should push for outside of Jake Diebler, it's September 19th. We've got Jake Diebler. If I don't get anyone else, that's it for the summer guest series. And then I might take 1 week off before we plug in. And it's going to be 2 shows a week, most likely, for the season preview series in October. Because Ohio State starts playing November. We got to get everyone prepped. So that's kind of the plan for the summer guest series. If you have anyone, let me know. You can hit me in the DMs on Twitter. You can DM me on Substack if you're there. You can drop a note there as well. Reply to a note that I've made about the summer guest series. Whatever works. Get my attention, and I'll try to get them. So if there's anyone that seems interesting, we've had a bunch of coaches on, assistant coaches. We've had others in the program. We've had players. We've had former players, Matt Sylvester. Anyone else? Let me know. You can even go back and look at who else we've had on the show previously, and we can invite them back on as well. Obviously, Adam Chardy was a great conversation, so just let me know. Alrighty, it's Friday, folks. If you're listening on a Friday, happy Friday. Made it through the end of a week. Hope you have some fun plans. Watch some college football, maybe a little bonfire. It's going to be freaking hot, though, man, tomorrow. It's going to be really hot. NFL football, if you're into that, Browns, Bengals fan, sorry. Another upsetting year for you, it looks like. I don't relish that for you or for me personally. So hope you have a fun weekend plan. We'll be back next week, hopefully with Jake Diebler. We'll see. It's touch and go with the head ball coach because he's busy. All right. So that's how it goes. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate you watching today's show, listening to today's show, the Views from the Schott podcast. It's been fun, but it is time for me to shut up before you shut me off. Thanks for listening again today, and go Bucks.